In a perfect world, you and your employees would never have to handle customer complaints. In the real world, however, there are lots of reasons for customers to become angry. It may be delays in delivery, staffing shortages, price increases, or even issues in your customers' personal lives. As you've probably experienced, when your customers complain, every word you choose has an impact. For example, if we happen to say something as innocent as, "Oh, it's not a big deal, don't worry about it," well, that can set them off on a rant. But fortunately, having provided customer service training to teams for over 30 years, we've discovered 5 tips for converting angry customers into raving fans. That means better days for your customers, more profits for your company, and better days for you because you go home not feeling upset about dealing with angry customers. So let's talk about those 5 tips, and be sure to watch right to the end to get the full value. When it comes to handling customer complaints, some managers believe that money-back guarantees or exchanges will fix the problem. Well, unfortunately, it might fix the transaction, but it doesn't fix the relationships. Policies don't fix customer relationships, people do. So let's look at 5 customer service training tips you and your employees can use to transform a critic of your organization into an advocate. Our first key to handling customer complaints: focus on concerns versus complaints. No one wants to hear customers complain. Employees become defensive and angry when they feel like they're going to deal with some customer who's a troublemaker. One of my seminar participants said that listening to customers complaining was like undergoing amateur eyeball surgery. Well, that can't be good. To prevent this defensive mindset, employees need to be trained to consider not customer complaints, but consider them as concerns. Employees should be made aware of the fact that customers who express concerns are helping you to stay sharp and remain competitive. Focusing on customer concerns versus complaints will immediately shift an interaction from one that's defensive and confrontational to one that's constructive and helpful. Our second key to handling customer complaints is empower frontline employees. Quick story. For their 43rd wedding anniversary, my dad ordered roses from a florist and asked what the price would be. Well, the florist said, well, it would be 43 times the single rose price. Well, that made no sense to my dad because roses are obviously cheaper by the dozen. The employee said that it made no sense, but her manager didn't give her permission to extend any discounts without talking to the manager. And since the manager wasn't around, they couldn't do anything for my dad. Well, the result was that florist lost the business and any repeat business from my dad. So the lesson there is make sure that your policies aren't so restrictive that they prevent us from taking care of customers. Employees need to be empowered to make reasonable frontline decisions without talking with managers. That kind of delegation requires 2 important factors: training and trust. The irony is that a lot of managers claim that they can't afford to train employees, where the reality is they can't afford not to train their employees because they're losing business. Just before I get to my next tip, if you're finding this to be helpful, be sure to like and subscribe so that as I release new videos, you'll get a heads up. That brings us to our third key to handling customer complaints: prove that you're listening. When a customer is expressing their dissatisfaction, make sure that you stop whatever you're doing, turn towards them, and show that we're paying attention. Now, sometimes that happens on the phone, in which case the nonverbal language becomes like we're completely focused on them. Then prove that you've heard them, and that means repeating and paraphrasing. But be careful. It's important before you start repeating and paraphrasing that you tell them why you're doing so. So in other words, we might say, okay, I want to make sure that I understand this correctly. It sounds like you're looking for, and away you go. So proving that we understand what's going on with them goes a long ways to helping them feel like they've been listened to, and whatever resolution we're going to come up with is going to be more appropriate. Our fourth key to handling customer complaints: express sincere empathy. Virtually every customer is frustrated because, first of all, they didn't get what they expect, and secondly, now they have to go through the time and hassle, inconvenience of talking to somebody to resolve it. And that's why it's so important when it comes to empathizing to using words like, "that sounds frustrating." Empathizing is something that no return policy can do for us. It needs to be done by a human so that we can validate the frustration that a customer is experiencing. I hope you're finding this to be helpful. Speaking of which, before I get to the last tip, if you like this video, well, then I think you're going to love my tips. You'll get them for free at jeffsbusinesstips.com. Our fifth tip to handling customer complaints: apologize, provide extras. Start off by saying, I'm sorry. Even if it wasn't your fault, even if it was our supplier's fault, our co-worker's fault, if it happened at our end, that foul up, then somebody at our end needs to apologize. So we represent the organization, so say, I'm sorry. The great benefit is that most customers recognize it wasn't your fault, but they respect the fact that you're stepping up. So saying, I'm sorry goes a long way to help creating those good feelings. Now, if your product or service really did fall short of the mark, of course you'd give them a refund or an exchange, but on top of that, we'd give them something for the inconvenience that they experienced. Any kind of a token or gesture that doesn't require them to spend more money is going to be appreciated. They feel like not only you understood the problem, but you understood their frustration and you're doing everything you can to make up for it. And at that point, now they're starting to recognize that, wow, when things go wrong with these folks, they really do the right thing, which frankly makes them more loyal than before the foul up. In other words, we turn somebody who's complaining into a fan. Well, the bottom line is this: in every organization, there are going to be times when things go wrong. The good news is by empowering our frontline employees and training them, giving them some simple skills that they can use, they'll not only regain the business of the customer, they also regain the feeling of, hey, I'm taking care of people, I'm treating people the way people deserve to be treated, and at the end of the day, we get to go back feeling good about ourselves, good about humanity, and bring a more positive attitude to those people we live with as well. Well, I hope you found that to be helpful. And again, if you like this video, I think you're going to love my tips. You'll get them for free at jeffsbusinesstips.com. See you next time.